Yo, what the hell's going on this Friday night? Hope everybody is nice and shitty faced by the time they pull up in the chat. Salute to my guy D Menace. What's good, man? It's been a minute. And I don't know why that shit is so white. As burnt as I am, you would think I wouldn't look so pale. What's good? What's good, man? Hawaiian Candy, appreciate you pulling up. The Las Vegas Raiders rolled the dice. I don't know how many times last year with Antonio Pierce, which we all wanted. I'm not going to lie, I was part of that. Tom Telesco, I was never on board with. You don't hire somebody that's been over a decade in the division. Bad move. One of his biggest signings and pretty much the only signing really that did anything why he was a Las Vegas Raider. General manager was the $110 million Christian Wilkins deal. Well, rumors, sources, people say that Christian Wilkins, like we talked about on this channel, not could only possibly miss all the way into the bye week, like I had said. I really didn't see him, being in shape, being ready to go. Um, I went over the interview, the injury, I reviewed it. The time that it's been taken for him to, be able to take the boot off, to be walking for an injury that's only a 3 or 4 month, healing injury. It's been 9 months. The guy's still not ready to go. So, like I said, I was very skeptical that he would be ready to go for the season. Well, there's a big possibility that he still might play the season, right? He might try to tough it out and, try to go. So, if he can go, do you feel like he should go? Or do you feel like he should just have the surgery, get healthy, and maybe there's a possibility, right? It's a 3 to 4 month window. I mean, we got what, 2 months till ball, 80 something days. Really, that's all? 80 something days is getting close, yo. Um, so does the man just, have the surgery, or does he try to tough it out? Like I talked about, $110 million signing, who everybody in the nation was excited for. I questioned the price right off the bat. That was a lot of money, for a guy that I'm not going to say really hasn't proved nothing. Because, I mean, but if you look at his overall season, that's a lot of money, bro. That's a lot of money for to just bring in, but he's a top defensive lineman. So when healthy, he's a dominating force, right? He showed it the first 4 or 5 games of the season last year. So we do know when healthy. But the fact of the matter is that if you go out and you look at all the information, hear all the talk, doctors' reports, there's a 30% chance that he may never be the Christian Wilkins he was. So, where does that put us when you have a guy like Christian Wilkins that you paid all this money for, that we never even got to see, what he could do 100% healthy as a Raider? Contract wise, he made pretty much $2 million per game last year. If he played 5 games, I think it was 5 games. It might have only been four. $10 million. He's due to make 18 plus this year. And then the following year, $37 million, more than Maxx Crosby. Now we know Maxx Crosby has a 2 year deal, guaranteed. Well, we'll see if that, stands if he plays on the other 2 years. We've already talked about it on the show. I don't really see that happening. And I think he'll be restructuring his contract in another 2 years. But for Christian Wilkins, what do the Raiders do in this situation? I mean, if the man has to have surgery, y'all already know on this channel. And if you don't, man, welcome to Raiders Unleashed. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. I'm Raiders first all the time, right? There's nobody bigger than the Shield. Nothing comes before the Shield. So you got to look out for the team aspect, right? If you're paying this guy ridiculous amounts of money to not even be on the field, I hate to say it, but damn, if you're going to miss a whole season, do you really just cut ties, take the salary cap hit? because at this point you're not getting, there's no trade value, right? Nobody knows what he's going to be, what he can be after the injury, even if the second injury is going to work, right? Even after the second injury, there's a 30% chance that he could refracture it. That's a pretty high percentage, right? That's, almost a third. So when you look at it that way, a big, you know, big, solid, heavy man that size, the possibilities of re injuring it and it not healing after the second surgery, I mean, that's bad news for him, right? It's good news if it works. But then if you look at the doctor's reports, how healthy is he going to be if it works? So, what y'all got to say? Let me know in the building who we got. Unleashed Raider, what's good? What's good? Where you been the last couple of days? Them college frat parties. I don't know why. I gotta turn this light on or something. Oh, there we go. Hey, look, I'm not a ghost. So I was starting to look like Casper for a minute. I mean, damn. I know I'm white, but I'm not that white. See a little red now. All right. So yeah, man, what do you think about Christian Wilkins? Let me know in the comments. But Tom Telesco, Coupon Tom, man, this dude comes in to the nation. Thank you, Mark Davis. I always stick up for Mark Davis just because I loved your father so damn much. And I don't want the Raiders to be owned by anybody else except for the Davises, which, I mean, eventually it's going to be, right? We can't control that. For now, I always got Mark's back. But damn, he's made some dumbass decisions, man. To bring in Tom Telesco was horrible. We lost Josh Jacobs. We lost Amika Robinson. I mean, the amount, just those two players right there, right? Then we sign a guy, and this is no knock on Christian Wilkins because shit happens. You can't help it. It's the NFL, right? But you bring in a guy that only plays 4 games for $110 million, and yes, he restructured his contract. Shout out to him. But damn, is he going to have to restructure it again? Because that's a lot of money, bro. $18 million for 2 years to play 4 snaps, possibly 5. That is how franchise start to go downhill. And we're trying to be on the uphill rise. So, what do we do in this situation? Now, I've talked about it before. I believe in guys like Jonah Lalu. We've heard, and I've talked about it. You probably heard from other channels. If you're a Raider fanatic like me, want to know everything, and if you're here, even in the off season on a Friday night, right? You're a diehard just like me. So if you're somebody that wants to know all the info all the time, shit, you're in the right place. But if you're reading everywhere, constantly, all the every single Raider thing, Raider Ramble, Raider News, Raider Wire. I mean, it's every Bleacher Report. The list goes on and on. Of Raider content you could get up to date, right? So if you follow that shit, you already know, right? You already know that we have guys in the building making noise. Adam Butler just returned. He's there for mandatory minis, which is a damn good sign. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Do you slide him over to that Christian Wilkins spot? Do you bring in a guy like Jonah Lalu? Does Tyree Wilson get more play time on the defensive line? Because he is a guy that you can move around, to a lot of spots. Let me know in your comments. Do you think Tyree Wilson gets more snaps on the defensive front? I feel he's going to get more there, but I also feel like they're going to move him, play him on the outside. I think he's going to be one of those guys that's a rotational piece when he's out there, right? You don't know where he's going to be. He could possibly, you could switch constantly with that dude. So, like last year when Maxx got hurt, and Christian Wilkins got hurt, Tyree got a lot more play time, but most of it was on the outside. Maybe with the Wilkins injury, he gets more on the inside. But we do have guys that are battling for roster spots like Tonka Hemingway. Does it make it, I don't want to say easier, but does it leave the door open? Obviously, you got to fill a roster spot. If this dude's not ready to go and you have to put him on IR, you have to fill that hole somewhere. So, do the Raiders go out and sign another defensive tackle? Do they run with what they brung, right? Do they feel comfortable with what we have in the room? In Laki Tasi, in Laki Fotu. Who else is in there? JJ Pegues, right? We already know Tonka Hemingway, Adam Butler, Jonah Lalu. And then you have, Tank Booker in the mix, DeAndre Carter or Andre Carter. There's a lot of guys, right? There's a lot of guys that we have on this roster. Some of them have a little bit experience in Patrick Graham's system that's going to be flip-flopped a little bit. So I think, obviously losing Christian Wilkins for any amount of time is going to hurt us. But last year, I thought we did pretty well, right? Besides the run. If you look at the run, we were horrible at stopping the run. So I think that's going to be another problem until these young guys prove that, they can step up and fill those holes in the middle. But then we also went and got 3 linebackers that are run stopping linebackers first, right? E-Rob, Landon Roberts, Jermaine Pratt, and then Devin White. All these guys are run stopping guys. They're guys that can smash through the middle. They can get skinny, right? Get through double teams, get to the quarterback, the running back. They can make plays in the backfield. Their only problem is coverage wise, but we're not talking about that today. We're going to talk about this defensive line because I still believe that we have enough weapons to get to the quarterback. Now, one thing it's going to hurt, obviously, is Maxx Crosby is going to get double teamed a lot more. So these guys have to step up. It puts pressure on the guys behind us big time, or the guy, not us, the guys behind, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler. These guys are going to get more reps. They're going to be looking, especially in the offseason, right? When we get into, preseason time. Unfortunately, nowadays you only get 3 games to figure it out. So who steps up, who shines, let me know in the comments who you think's going to jump in. Jack Kenna was good. What's good? Raider Twan. Appreciate y'all. Sorry, I couldn't find my glasses today, and I am squinting big time. So I'm gonna use these old ass ones. I don't know anything about players. Well, why not? Get in your playbook. D Minutes, what's good with him tonight? Where you been, my guy? Rebel, just to pop on the show, my respect. Appreciate you, my guy. I appreciate you pulling up. How's your weekend getting ready to start? Well, yeah, man. So, Christian Wilkins is going to be a big blow, but I trust this defensive line coach in Robbie Leonard. I trust Pete Carroll and trust Patrick Graham. The linebacker coach. I trust all these guys to get it together. And I want to say not miss a beat, but that's hard to say when you lose a guy like Christian Wilkins. We all know what he brings to any team, right? Not just this defensive front, but any team. He's a guy that can draw the double team, that can beat double teams. Was supposed to help Maxx Crosby get away from that. So I don't know. Again, to me, it helps these young guys develop, and that's what I want to see from this franchise. I preach constantly the fact that Spytek, the organization he was in Tampa, out of the 53-man roster, 53-man roster, they have 43 guys that were drafted in-house. That's unheard of. Like, I always pretty much try to say that anytime I'm talking about rosters, because I am in 50 years of football, never heard no shit like that, right? One team keeping pretty much everybody they drafted for the last, to have 43 guys on your roster drafted in the organization, that's probably like 5 or 6 years worth of draft, right? So to me, that's what I want to see. I want to see development of these young guys. And the only way you get on the field when you got a dude making $110 million in front of you, with a bigger name, is for him to get injured or for you to show out. So You got a guy in front of you down, and it's time for these guys to step up, right? Everybody preaches next man up, and I think we have enough men behind them to step up. But if not, there's plenty of free agents out there, right? You can go get um who's still out there? Um, Let me see something real quick. Yo, hold up. No, it won't let me change it. Damn it. Why this shit don't let me change? Yeah, and then you got, still a lot of talk about guys like Jalen Ramsey coming to the Raiders. I feel like if that was gonna be, a done deal, that would have already been done. But bigger news than that, right? I wasn't on last night. I got overheated as hell, 115-degree heat. I was dying yesterday. Alex M, what's good, my guy? I think the Raiders could get 9 to 10 wins this season, hopefully more. Bro, I'm happy with that. I mean, anything over 8. If we're one game over 500, I'm fine with that, right? That's where I thought we should have been last year, even with the quarterbacks we had. Of course, it didn't work out like that. um, didn't work out even anywhere close to that. But bigger news before I came on. We talked about it 2 days ago, right? Terry McLaurin, Washington Redskins, Commanders. 6,000-yard seasons in 7 years. And he only missed it his rookie year by like 8 yards or something, 6 yards, maybe 12, less than 20 yards. So a kid that could possibly, be that Mike Evans over there in Tampa Bay, 1,000 yards every season, except he missed it his first year by a little bit. But there was some talk saying Terry McLaurin's locked in, right? He's not going anywhere. But some reports came out yesterday of some trade candidates. They heard that, it's kind of like the Colton Miller conversation. The two sides are a little bit further than what some people might expect. So when you got, guys that you just brought in, who'd they just bring in? Oh, Debo, right? They brought in Debo from the 49ers. Of course that dude's gonna want more money, right? He's seen what Debo got. This dude's coming out, showing out in camp already. And if you're the Commanders, you have to sign McLaurin, right? You can't lose a franchise wide receiver like that, a guy that's put up 1,000-yard numbers 6 years in a row in the last 6 years. That's freakish numbers, right? That's already special. You got to pay the guy. But when you're way off from what I hear, people are already, conjuring up trade proposals. So the latest one that I heard is the Raiders give up a second, a fifth, and we get Terry McLaurin and a seventh. It's a no-brainer. I ain't even got to say I would take that all day. And I'm sure anybody that watches this or anybody in the chat would have jumped would jump on that shit too all day long, right? There's no way you're not going to take that trade. So I thought it was absolutely wild. But if it came to something like that, could you imagine the Raiders getting a wide receiver of Terry McLaurin's caliber, a guy that can give you 1,000 yards every season, with a guy like Brock that could, very well possible give you 1,000 yards every season from every year on out. Then you got Jacoby Myers, capable of giving you those 1,000-yard seasons. Also, you'd have to have a great year as an offense, and like I said, be the greatest show on Allegiant turf to put up numbers like that, to have three guys with 1,000 yards receiving. But I mean, crazier things that happen in the NFL. So, it could happen. It could happen when you got coaches like we have, when you got the experience we have. And the more hear Pete Carroll talk, it just fires me up, bro. Kind of like last year. So I'm bought in, man. I can't wait till this season. But the distractions, right? The distractions constantly. We can't have one off season. This year was going so good. They've been hiding the Christian Wilkins thing, but other than that, everybody's been in camp. We had a couple guys miss a day or two, here or there, but everybody's been in camp. Everybody's been in, locked in, bought in, ready to compete every day. It's all over the building. That's all these guys want to do. And then the only thing there's been to talk about for the last month pretty much is Christian Wilkins, right? Is he in the boot? Is he out of the boot? Was the surgery good? And I said it from the jump, right? A month ago, over a month ago, I don't see him starting the season. I see him possibly playing by the bye week. That might be out the window, but I still might be wrong. Like I said, he might try to tough it out. I don't know if the Raiders would allow a guy making $110 million, to try to go out there and tough it out if it's already known that he does need another surgery, right? To me, that would be crazy. But again, we've seen guys like Ronnie Lott cut off half their pinky to go back out in a football game. So it ain't those days anymore. But if a guy doesn't want to get surgery, you can't force him to. So hopefully everything works out. They figure it out. And if he does, like I said, if he has to get surgery, you might as well just get it done now. There's no reason to take a chance of re-injuring it or fracturing it more and then having to do surgery, because then, I mean, recovery time could be twice as bad. Trixie Blue, what's good? What's good? Word is Rams and Chargers play for Ramsey. Yeah, I've heard the Rams say they wouldn't mind taking him back, and that would be, I don't know if that'd be the best place for him, right? Terry shooting for 28 million per season. I don't think it'll happen. Happen Raiders wise. Yeah, but the power of Pete Carroll, right? The power of Tom Brady. If you can get a guy to come in and you tell him whatever, right? 3-year contract, show me those 1,000 yards every year, right? If you do get 1,000 yards, this is your incentive. If you get 1,200 yards, this is, you get this much bonus. You can work it out to where he has to earn that money and still pay him that $30,000. I guarantee. And they can give him 20 up front, right? And say, here's the 20 up front, earn that other 10. If you think you're worth 30 million a year, show us, right? Prove it. And if you do prove it this year, then we'll give it to you next year, right? Spytech and whoever's been in the building, working out these contracts so far this year, the Maxx Crosby, the Geno Smith, they've all, if you look at them and if you know anything about contracts, they're all contracts that you could get out of, right? Very, very easily. It's not going to take big cap hits. It's not going to, you're not losing a lot of money. If anybody could get it done, right? It's a guy like Spytech. I believe in Spytech. So, yeah, I don't see him paying that much money when you got the stars like we have, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, up and coming Jack Beck and Thornton, Trey Tucker. I don't always want to leave him out. It would be hard to pay that much money. But I could see the Raiders doing it because I've talked about this before. If you're trying to win now, the best way to win now is you go out and you get at least one or two of those best players, right? In free agency. I think we got pretty solid linebackers. I think we got pretty decent corners that have a chance to be, very, very good. Uh, a rookie that has a chance to be great already. So I think we're in the right direction there, right? But if you think that you have a chance to compete this year right off the bat in the division and in the AFC West and the NFC, what else? NFC East, right? We play. If you think you compete, with all those teams, but you're just one or two pieces away, and that piece is a receiver, which I don't know why it would be, um, then you go get that guy, right? I just don't feel like it is a receiver or it is a big need. But you never know, man. You never know. Jacoby Myers on a contract, they might call him up and say, hey, let us get Jacoby Myers. I don't know. But more than likely, the Commanders, they seem like a pretty smart upper management. You know, they turned that team around overnight in a blink of an eye. I just don't see it being a big problem, right? I see the money being a problem. But again, if I'm a GM, I'm gonna do like I said, man. Here's 20, right? What's the top 5 receivers getting? Top 10, because he's in there. He's definitely in the top 10. I'd put him in the top 5. 1,000 yards every year on a Commanders team that only had Jaden Daniels thrown to him last year. I I think I'd put him in the top 5 if you're looking at those, those yards as young as he is. So yeah, pay the man, but make him earn that shit. Like I said, you can put plenty of incentives in there. Every 100 yards over 1,000, right? You get 2 mil, whatever, 2.5. You get workout bonus. You get all kind of bonus, right? You can get receiving yards bonus, catching bonus, no drop bonuses. They can work that money in there where he's got it. Like I said, prove he's worth it, and that's what I would do if I was the owner. I ain't giving nobody shit. Um, Players blew off half his hand with fireworks. Still comes back and plays in the NFL. Raph, what's good? What's good? What's good? Tucker a speed threat. He needs to show more versatile, more versatility as a receiver, though. Yeah, I think Trey Tucker's going into that year where when you're in a franchise like the Raiders, right? You have a different offensive coordinator every year. You have a different head coach every year. You have a different GM every year. You have more turnaround every year than a wash machine. It's a constant spin cycle in the Raiders franchise. How can you expect any rookies to develop, when they're first string one day, second string the next, not even, on the roster a couple days later, then they're, third or fourth guy, but they're the fifth look, right? The fifth check down. It's hard for anybody to prove their worth if you're not getting reps, if you're not getting catches. And it's hard for a quarterback to be trusting, to trust in you to throw the ball your way when you're not getting open, or if you're dropping passes, or if you're having to, like I said before, dive for passes and not catch them because you're not comfortable with catching, shit on the run. So Dixon Sider, what's good? What's good? So, Trey Tucker, bro, if he's ever had competition, it's now. 2 years ago, we knew who was the man, right? It was Devontae Adams, it was Jacoby Myers, and then it was Trey Tucker, right? Everybody knew their role. Everybody knew their spot on the roster, their position, their totem pole, so to speak. This year, I don't think anybody really knows, right? I mean, Jacoby Myers is the vet, but is he going to play in the slot? Is he going to play on the outside? Is he going to play on the inside? Is he going to be the number one guy, two guy? You know, Nobody really knows. Is it going to be Dante Thornton, who people are already amazed with in camp? Is Jack Beck going to be on the inside and, Jacoby on the outside? Is it going to be Brock Bowers a lot in the slot or on the outside? There's no really defining, you know, who is going to be where at the receiver spot. And I think that's a problem for defenses. But I think that's a problem for the receivers, guys like Trey Tucker, that now you got not only Jacoby Myers to battle with, the guys that were already in the building that you're battling with, but then you got a guy picked in the second round that's higher than you, and a guy in the fourth round that has, that's faster than you, that's taller than you, that's what, like 4 inches, 5, 6 inches taller. Yeah. So competition, competition, competition. LVR, what's good, man? And you can't complain about enough competition in the building. So I think the receivers are fine. Terry McLaurin would be a pipe dream, but you can only dream, right? Right. I'm just saying the Raiders have done crazy shit like that and went and got guys like Randy Moss. Um, who else can I not think of top of my head? Oh yeah, I don't even want to mention his name. Um, he's on the run. So if anybody's seen AB, the Raiders have gone out and got receivers before, right? We've paid that money in the past with Tom Brady in the building and Spytek in the building. I don't see that being a priority, you know. But if you can bring the guy in, if it does get down to that, and talk to him, shit, you always got to talk to him, especially when you play him week 3, week 4. You definitely want to bring him in the building and pick his brain if you can, right? Um, AB drama was too much. Yeah, he didn't get on the field, right? Did he ever get on the field? Did he even play a game for us? I don't think he did. I can't remember. I always say there's not a lot of Browns that I like that putting up. There's two Browns that I can't stand that play for the Raiders. Antonio Brown and the other, what the hell is his name? Uh the offensive lineman, the freak of nature dude. Maxx Crosby always talk about. I don't know why I can't think of his name. It sucks, bro. It sucks to be that talented, to be that good in the NFL, to have every team, every quarterback, every offensive coordinator, every owner dream about having you on their team because of your talent, but your character, your character, bro. Like when you have a chance to just, earn generational money, pretty much pick what team you want to play for, and you can't, you just can't shut your mouth and play football. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. But it shows a lot about people's character to me. Like, if you really love this game and that's all you care about is football, you shouldn't have a problem playing football. You shouldn't have a problem being on the grass. I just don't understand it. There's millions of people, right? There's what, 600, 700, 800, 1,000, 5,000 college kids every year that would, just are hoping for a chance to play in the NFL. And then you get guys like that are, just selfish, don't care about a team, all about me. Like, makes no sense, bro. Makes absolutely no sense. Because I'm sure every one of us growing up would have loved to play football, would have loved to be in the NFL, and shit. I'm sure most of us would be happy with that $600,000-700,000, right? 600-700 G a year to play football. These fools talking about 20 mil, 20 mil, and you can't just go out and play football. Absolutely makes no sense. AB was cut before the season, so we didn't owe him any money. Oh, conduct detrimental to the team is, I don't even know what to say to that, right? Like, how does a person get to that point? How do you get to a point in your life where you make all that money, but you still feel like, I don't know what you feel like though, right? Like I don't know. I don't know. Entitled? You deserve shit? I don't know, bro. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. No sense at all. All that talent wasted, wasted. Yeah, Larry Brown. That man. You get numb to shit when you get money. Yeah, you know, one of the greatest quotes in the Bible is right. It's easier to fit a camel through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. When you think about a quote like that, it really only says one thing or two things. You sure the hell ain't never fitting a camel through the eye of a needle. I don't give a shit how big the needle is. So how you going to heaven rich, right? Doesn't make sense, bro. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how money changes people. Um, I've had it, lost it, had it, lost it, and really just don't give a shit about it no more. Right? I know it ruins a lot of shit, and I know it changes people. It definitely does. So yeah, man, and greed is a horrible thing. Once you get the that fever, right? Once you get by that money bug, that's all you want to chase. That's all that matters in life. And for some people, that's good. But if you think about it, really, you really want to spend your whole life working, chasing money that you'll never get to spend, that your kids will never have to work a day in their life like you, know what it's like to work or to struggle or to go through hard times because you gave them everything that you worked for, that you never got to see them, spend or use or gamble away or spend on drugs. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah, man. It's a crazy world we live in. It's a crazy world we live in. People take for granted the shit around them, right? Like the trees, the stars, the moon, the sun, the oceans, the creeks, the rivers, right? Fishing, hunting. You probably shouldn't hunt. That's bad. I'm just kidding. Um, walks, just walking outside. Everybody's on a car. Everybody's on a cell phone. Everybody's on a computer, right? Crazy, crazy world. D'Angelo Hall, one of the Raiders' worst free agent signings ever. I don't know if I could go that far. Like, I mean, he played though, right? He was out there on the grass, and I remember some decent plays from D Hall. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Yeah, most of those kids are spoiled and become. I mean, yeah, because you don't learn anything, bro. If you're given everything in life, I don't understand why people work. Yeah, of course, everybody wants to leave their kids something, but leave them enough money to start a business, right? Not enough money to just not worry about shit, right? When you don't have to worry nothing in life, nothing to worry about, bad things happen, bro. Bad things happen. I'm poor at one time, middle class, but not now. Dude, who could be anything, bro? If you don't play football, if you don't own a web company, that does services for people that you could sell for $1 million, or if you ain't hustling people online, you pretty much you ain't making no money no more, right? No money. What's a firefighter make? Less than $100,000, right? Cops less than $100,000. Teachers, bankers, like. But what's your rent? What's your rent in LA, Kenna? Because I ain't been in LA for a long time. I mean, you don't have to say, but what, three, four, five, $6,000 a month? I know, like 15 years ago, when I was in LA, I was working out there, and we were paying like $1,200 a month for a little studio, a studio with like no bedroom, a bathroom, and a kitchen. That's a month in LA, bro. Like, if you don't make $50 an hour, how do you even survive or live anymore nowadays? It's crazy. Crazy. Work your whole life for nothing. Two houses in California. Jack Kenna rolling. Can't really experience. You can't truly experience life if you never had to stand on your own feet, and you can't appreciate life without hardship. Facts, facts. I mean, I hate to keep referring, to the Bible, but if you look at history, right, even the Bible, people suffer. Life is about suffering. It's about learning, and you don't learn lessons if you don't have any lessons to learn, right? It's like going to school. If you go to school and your teacher just says, "Okay, go outside. We're going to recess all day." Fuck, you gonna learn in school? You ain't learning shit, right? You just going. You just showing up. So you got to have lessons. You got to teach kids the value of a dollar, and a lot of these people don't have it. And it's totally, it's totally understandable. At least nowadays, like these rookies were saying last year, when you come into Raiders camp, right? They have classes where they're teaching you money management, how to manage your shit, how to not get caught up in traps and get hustled for your money, you know, not to invest your money in bad situations. Cuz a lot of these kids don't know, right? A lot of these kids coming up, you know, like I did in rough neighborhoods struggling. And when you get money, you're like, holy shit, money? Money? Believe me, when I started working in the union, and I was making $2,500, $3,200 a week because we're working 7 hours a day, 10, 12 hours, 12 hours a week. Shit, I thought I was rich, bro. I had more money. I thought I was making $500,000 a year. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Um, yeah, so lessons, man, lessons in life have to come. And well said, LVR. Entertainers getting paid huge sums of money nowadays. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you have, like I said, if you have something to do with entertainment or sports or owning a sports team, it's okay. Shit. Other than that, bro, it seems hard. It definitely seems hard. Yeah, and suffering makes you stronger, right? If you know, like you said, if you never had any struggles, any suffering, people are gonna panic, right? In bad situations, when shit happens, people panic because they never been through it. If you've been through situations in your life, if you've been put in situations like people that go to the army, if you go to the army, if you go to the military, you learn skills, life lessons, right? You learn how to survive without food, without water for days, right? You learn how to defend your life, how to take other people's lives, right? You learn a lot of skills and a lot of lessons, right? You see a lot of bad shit, and you have to be mentally strong. And some people don't come out the right way. It's because they're just not mentally prepared. Um, my mom was like that growing up with my brother. We're 20 years difference in age, so when I'm already out the house and she has a baby at in her 40s, like that kid never got to do nothing. He didn't go outside and play. He was like in a bubble. Kid was in a shield. She did everything for him. And now he's what am I? Shit, now he's 30, just turned 30. And he's just starting, to figure out on his own. Got two babies, got an old lady or excuse me, got a wife and kids and a family. It's just starting to figure it out. And shit, he came to live with me when he was younger. And I took him to work, tried to teach him, but he didn't want to work. He didn't want to work. He's like, I'm not used to this, bro. Like, you work 10, 12 hours a day. This is crazy, bro. It's hot outside. We need food, right? Um, but now he thanks me. He's like, man, if you would have never taught me that, because his dad passed away when he was a baby. So it was basically me and his mother. So, you know, never got to do dishes, never had to do laundry, all the shit I had to do when I was a kid growing up, right? We had to clean the house. We had to, clean the yard, we had to do all kinds of stuff when we were kids. Nowadays, I don't see how, kids having to do nothing. Hold up, let me get out this video game. 1 minute, 1 minute. I got 2 minutes left. You can't take it with you. For sure. For sure. You can't take it with you. You could pass it down to somebody else, but then that goes back to right learning lessons. Like it would be nice, right? Who doesn't want to turn 18 or 21 or 24 and have enough money to live on for the rest of your life? It would be nice. But when you already know that's coming, I'm sorry, that turns people into assholes. How could you not be, right? you already like, I don't have to listen to anything you say. I'm gonna do what I want. Cause as soon as I hit this age, shit, I'm good. I'm set. Good to go. $80 plus money is considering poor. Shit, that, like $2,000 a month nowadays is considered poor. Um, yeah, some kids don't know how to do basic household chores nowadays. Basic household chores, shit. Some of them can't even tie their shoes. What do you mean? And no disrespect, but I mean, I guess it is disrespect, real. That goes out to parents, but there's a lot. There's a lot of kids that don't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, right? Can't cook an egg, can't put toast in a toaster and butter and put jelly on it. These are things that everybody should be able to do. I think I was doing when I was like old enough to reach the toaster, right? Put it in there, put some butter on it, spread that shit. Cleaning your own room, doing your own laundry, cleaning the house, mopping. I don't know how I had to do all kinds of shit. I didn't get paid for chores either. They weren't chores. That was a job, bro. I had a job early, very early, very early. Well, yeah, man. So what was y'all's number one chore you had to do? What was the worst chore you had to do as a kid? Who had to do chores? What was one weekly thing that you were always had to do? To me, I would tell you, but I'd be here for a month. Hi, mom. Love you. No, but for real. So yeah, man. Don't stress. Don't panic. We still have some studs on this defense. We still have some players, and it just gives us, one more position, which we all like one more position, right? I'm just saying. Um, what do we got? Hold up. Um, so who could take Wilkins' place? Oh wait, it's actually color coordinated. Let me fix my computer. So of course, behind Christian Wilkins, the guys behind him, because like I said, are they going to slide? Adam Butler? Do they move him over? Do they use a guy like Hemingway or Pagese? But man, this opens up a spot for a guy that I really, really, really hope makes this team. I've been talking about him for a while now. And a lot of people are still like, man, I ain't seen nothing on this kid. Yep. There's not a lot of people talking about him. Hasn't made a lot of noise. But the film on this kid, dude, is, man, surprises the shit out of me. So Christian Wilkins, right? Behind him is my guy, bro. Jonah Lalu, Oklahoma kid. UDF last year. A huge, huge signing. I don't know if it was Tom Telesco. I don't know who had anything to do with it. It was AP said to go get me that guy. You know, could have been Patrick Graham, could have been anybody, Robbie Leonard. But whoever it was, thank you, because man, this kid showed flashes last year, and it looks like he's taking a jump this year. So he's already moved to the second spot. But behind him is Tonka Hemingway. So you got Jonah Lalu, which may be the starter if Christian Wilkins, which more than likely will not be ready to go. You move Jonah Lalu in, you got Tonka Hemingway behind him. But then you have Traven Mae, which, man, I really like this kid. 68. Look for his number out there. Make sure you watch him. Go back and watch some of these, shout out to Vegas Sports Today and all these guys breaking down minicamp and all the camps. But go look for 68 on the defense because there's a 68 on the offense also. So don't get him twisted. But on the defensive side, man, the man looks fast. He's powerful as hell. He's keeping up with the guys around him from what I've seen. His footwork looks good. When they're moving these bags, they look like nothing to this man. He looks very, very strong to me. I forgot to go back and I don't know what his tests were at the combine, but I'm gonna go back and look. I'll bring that up next time. But I really like Trevin, man, and I didn't really think he had a chance to make this team. You know, I was hoping practice squad that they wouldn't cut the kid because I really like him. But then when you got, but that's on the right side, right? That's playing the 3-4 technique. Um, then you got on the left side is Adam Butler. You got Leaky Fotu, JJ Pegues, and Zach Carter. Not in that order, right? This is just the Raiders roster. It's not Raiders.com. They have it mixed up a little bit more. But they have some of these guys at right, some of these guys at left. So I'll jump over there in a minute. And behind Zach Carter, you got Tank Booker, which is another kid that, young man that I really, really like. I think Tank Booker has a lot of potential. And if we put him on the practice squad, somebody's going to see him out there, right? Somebody's going to see him in this preseason and they're going to be like, man, let's give this kid a chance because why he didn't get drafted, I don't know. But I mean, probably because there's only 200 and something players. But the kid has a lot of potential, right? He's quick, he's strong, he's powerful. He has great size to be up there on the defensive front, and he can stop the run, right? He's big enough where he can take on double teams, eat up double teams, which we need definitely with Christian Wilkins not out there. Left end wise, it's still Crosby, Snowden, John Joyner. They have third behind Ove Ogafau. I think I said that right for the first time ever. Ogafau. I don't know if he makes this team. On the other side, of course, is Kuntz, Tyree Wilson, which I just don't understand, man. Andre Carter, and then Jafari Harvey. I really like Jafari Harvey. But more than likely we're only keeping 4 ends. And right now we have 8. Which that means 4 people probably gonna go more than likely. There could be a possibility. I don't see it. So I won't even say it. But there could be a possibility where they like some of these edges and they're not sure about Maxx Crosby or Malcolm Kuntz both coming off of injuries last year, right? Both coming off of season ending injuries last year. So when you have that and the depth last year showed that Tyree Wilson was not the guy that they had to go in and get guys like Andre Carter, bring up Charles Snowden from the practice squad. They went and got Caleb Von Chasen, and they passed they passed Tyree Wilson right off the rip. First day in practice, they were like, "All right, this kid's playing. He's starting," which I expected it. Right, he was a first round. Chasen was a first round pick 3 years ago. Tyree's coming into his third year. I hope he takes that jump. But on the edge, man, I just don't know. I don't know. Andre Carter looked pretty decent last year. This is another dude, a mammoth sized man. His daddy played in the NFL. He's got great pedigree. So the battle up front is looking good. But right now we have on the defensive line, holy shit, don't What is that? My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 players. I believe out of those 17 players, we could somehow between two guys fill the shoes of Christian Wilkins. But man, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. That was a star player that we thought, Pro Bowl type defensive end was gonna come in, clog the middle, which we've been needing for a long, long time. And then nothing. And then this year, we're back on the same train, right? I had high hopes. As you see my prediction above me. Gonna be rough, But I still got faith. Man. I got faith in this team. I got faith in this defensive line coach and Robbie Leonard. The man has shown what he can do with this defensive line. Now, like I keep iterating that he has, he's also the run game coordinator for the defense. I think that's going to help us a little bit. Bring some of these young guys in. Let Christian Wilkins rest, bro. Have the surgery. Keep him. And if it takes, 4 months, that's 2 months into the season. What's that? 8 weeks? That's about where I said. Somewhere around the bye week is where I see him playing this year. But if he has surgery and it takes another 4 months, I don't see it being the bye week. You got to have at least a month to get in shape or more. Start working out, get your legs back. So if we see him at all this year, say he comes in with 6 games left and we're making a playoff push and we get to the playoffs, do you feel any better about the time missed, the amount of money of this signing? Does it make everything good? Are y'all still going to be butthurt with a bitter taste in your mouth? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, Trevor Maye is a damn good player. He's got that dog in him, and he's got the size where he can manhandle guys. I seen him ragdoll some guards to push, pull, and they're behind him. Big guys, right? Big guys, like 300-pound, 320-pound guards and tackles. So I've seen a guy shed blocks and make stops that I didn't think he was going to be able to chase down the running back, and he caught him. So very, very impressive. I like the dude's style. I like his aggressiveness. I like the way he plays. I think he fits his team. He fits that Raider mentality. I like that. He's a guy that, when you see him making a tackle, you can see his head moving. I don't know if he's talking out there, but when your head's bobbing, more than likely you're talking some shit to somebody. And when you're pointing at people, so dude looks like he's a talker, looks like he has that dog in him. And I hope he makes, if he makes the team, great. But if he doesn't, it's a kid you got to keep on this practice squad and try to bring along and see what he has. Because I think, a little bit of practice, a little bit of time with Robbie Leonard, going against our number one offense, out there on the practice squad, it's just going to make these players better. And there's a reason we drafted him. You brought him in, UDFA or not, we could have went and got 500 different defensive linemen. They chose this dude. And like I said, man, I wish him all the best. I hope he does. There hasn't been much talk about him. Any talk, really. I haven't heard his name from anybody, but I'm still keeping my hopes. Joyner takes Snowden's spot. Stuff could happen in camp. I don't know. The Snowden thing is tricky for me, right? He still has, unless he already had, I think it's in June. Maybe the 22nd. I think it's June 22nd. Don't quote me on that. But I think he has his court date coming up very, very soon. And I think that's going to dictate what the Raiders do, right? But more than likely, you're going to get a slap on the wrist. You're going to have to pay a fine. Probably no jail time if he does because it's DUI and you have to do like I think your second one you have to do 10 days in jail. So probably no jail time. Probably just have to pay a fine. It's not a big deal. And if the Raiders, brought him back, it looks like they're one of those teams that are willing, to forgive and let it go, whatever the situation was. But he did damn well, damn good for us last year. He was in on that play on the Browns, chasing guys down, not guys down, chasing Deshaun Watson down to finish the game against the Cleveland Browns last year that we ended up winning. He came up big in a couple of games, right? Not a lot of stats, got some pressures, had a couple run stuffs, um, and then had the situation, and I think it was downhill from there. But definitely a guy that has a lot of upside and a lot of talent. So Josh Joyner's got his work for cut out for him, but another guy with a lot of upside, a lot of upside, a lot of talent, a guy that has great bend, great, good handwork, and I like the way he plays. I like the way he plays a lot. So I'm definitely rooting for Josh Joyner. Man, it's so hot in here, dude. I am burning up from this heat. It's crazy. I can't breathe. Yeah, teachers say kids these days acting dumber and dumber. Well, I mean, if you're subliminally brainwashed, bro, every single day, constantly, what do you expect these kids to be? I mean, what do you expect them to be? If they don't have a game controller in their hand that they're talking and yelling at people and getting pissed off, over a game all day long, then they're on YouTube or they have a phone in their hand and they're not on Wikipedia trying to learn shit or Chat GBT asking questions and trying to get smarter. So can change a flat tire. Good lord, man. Change a flat tire. That would I think nowadays they would just call a tow truck or call their father. I'm sure call their father. I never had that problem. My kids would be like, "Man, I'll figure it out. Like, I'll get this shit off." They're determined. They got that fight in them. No offense to Gen Z in the building, but I've seen some of that dumb shit on social media that some Gen Zs do. Don't know, right? It's all generations, but man, they just get And what are they calling this new generation? The alpha generation. So you're an alpha generation because you have the intelligence and you were taught computers and you picked it up faster than other people makes you an alpha. That's not what I was taught was the alpha back in the day. But I guess we all got a different opinion of what the alpha is nowadays also. The man is what's good. Yeah, kids ain't getting any fucking they definitely ain't getting smarter, bro. Japan and China and places like that, they are killing us with intelligence constantly. Like, why do you think and this is a knock on America and the United States. Like, why do you think most of our scientists, and upper shit like that, are all Germans? They're all from China, India, Russia, like other countries, because the American school system is a joke, bro. It's a failure. I don't know how many people I know with college degrees that can't get jobs. Like, like you go to school for 4 years, get a degree, and can't get a job. Just makes no sense. They just ain't teaching people the right shit. Like, goes back to the money thing. Everybody cares about money. Fotu, Lalu, Tonka, and JJ are options. Leaky Fotu is another one of those big ass dudes, right? Just he's not even a house. He's like a tiny home. Like the dude is a monster. So if we keep last year we kept defensive end defensive line total. We had 4 edge rushers, 5 defensive linemen. This year we could, we might be forced to keep 10 and have to go with 6 defensive linemen unless some of these guys pop really, really early, in my opinion. And I don't think it would be a problem. I think, we have pretty good depth at the rest of the positions. I'm pretty comfortable with the receiver room. I'm okay with the corner room and the linebacker room. I know most people aren't, but y'all already know, I'm pretty good with that shit. I feel like the defensive line right now is a lot of questions, right? For the last couple months, we've been like, okay, what's our biggest need? And most people will say we need another number one receiver, which I totally disagreed with. Never thought we needed a number one receiver. If we get one, I will still be very surprised, even if they go out and get another guy. I think we have problems figuring out who we're going to keep with the guys we have. I think most of the guys in the building have done damn good in camp. Even Colin, damn, I can't think of his name, the other receiver. So, Shedrick Jackson. A lot of these cats have done damn good in camp, right? They've made some damn good catches. I've seen some cats drop some balls, but it happens. But for the most part, man, our receiver room has looked pretty good. And I think they're going to have a lot of questions on who they decide to keep in the receiver room. Then on the offensive line, there's a pretty good battle going on the right side, on the left side. We already know who the edges in the middle is going to be. There's no battle there, so I'm not really concerned about the guard position, left or right, because when you got 2 or 3 guys battling that for position and the best man wins, I feel pretty comfortable about the offensive line that we have in the building. Then when you get to the running back spot, I'm good with that. When you get to the safety spot, who's going to be that free safety? Is it going to be Isaiah Palmau? Who's going to be back there most of the time? That I don't know about, but I'm pretty comfortable in Lonnie Johnson and all these guys back there. Trey Taylor taking that next step. I think that dude has a huge chip on his shoulder from all the shit that went down last year. But the defensive line, man, the defensive line now is kind of a question. You have a lot of guys, but a lot of guys that haven't proven themselves. Maxx Crosby, of course, the veteran in the building. Adam Butler. Leaky Fatu, and then and then who? And then who? Tyree Wilson? Oh, Malcolm Kuntz, I guess. Malcolm Kuntz in his 4th, 5th year. So yeah, not a lot of veteran leadership like we predicted going in. We got rid of a lot of veterans last year, guys that have been in the league 3-4 years, guys that have been in the league for, for 10, 15 years playing on the defensive line still. We don't have a lot of veteran leadership, and that was my biggest concern going into minicamp when Adam Butler wasn't out there. We already knew Christian Wilkins wasn't probably going to be out for most of camp, but when Adam Butler wasn't out there, man, I started to get a little bit of shaky, right? I was like, we need veteran leadership on this line to show these guys how it's done, right? To show them how to be professional, show them how to practice, because it's different in the NFL. It's different when you got guys showing up at 5 o'clock in the morning that don't have to be there till 6:30. Right? It's different in college. You're like, man, guys are stumbling in from a hangover the night before. They probably just leaving a party coming, right? It's different in college. So you got to learn that shit in the pros. And if you don't have any good veterans, showing you the ropes, bro, it's a rough walk. Harvey's a tough player, may end up on the practice squad. I like Jafari Harvey. I don't think you can get rid of this kid. Like I said, if it's practice squad, I'm good with that, because I feel if he gets reps, on the practice squad and they keep him where he's out there learning, it ain't gonna be long. It ain't gonna be long before he gets out there and starts getting reps. We've seen what Caleb on chasing and Snowden, how they've already passed Tyree Wilson. We moved on from Caleb on, so I see the same thing with Jafari Harvey and Jaw Joyner. You know, I see both of these guys coming in and passing Tyree Wilson. And I hate to say it, but even Andre Carter at this point has proven that he has the strength. He has a pretty decent get off, and he can get in the backfield and he can disrupt some plays. And you can move him around too. We put him on the line. We put him on at the edge. I think they even put him at a couple spots like outside linebacker last year. So for a big man, he's definitely a guy you can move around, and he's going to be battling for a spot. Where the hell did that go? Gen Z in the West is a gold star and a trophy for participation generation. Yeah, I coached a lot of those kids, man. It really, man, I'm not even going to that. Still questions about corner room, really? Yeah, there's questions. Anytime you bring in new guys and you lose a lot of guys, you're going to have questions. But my major concern about the corner room is who's it going to be? And y'all stay tuned if you haven't seen already. Monday, 1 o'clock. Pass it around, share it. Go click on my community page. Share it with your people. Get as many people in the building as possible. But yeah, we got a special guest coming on Monday, 105 from the Raiders Rambo. We are gonna pull up, talk some Raiders, talk some future, talk some journalism, but a whole lot of football, man. So pull up, tell all your peeps, make sure y'all don't miss it. While you already here, hit the like button, man. If you're not subscribed to the channel, well, damn, what are you waiting for? I know you ain't here watching. Come on, just subscribe, bro. Just subscribe. It's 2 clicks, two. Um, don't sleep on Gainer or Matt Jones. I like Matt Jones, but he's going to be a practice squad guy if he makes this team. No doubt about it. He's got an uphill battle. They're only going to keep six tops, more than likely five. And if they only keep five, if they only keep five linebackers, there's no way he makes this team. There's no way. It's to me, it's already set in stone. I don't even have to think about it. I pretty much believe it's Landon Roberts. It's gonna be Jermaine Pratt. It's gonna be Devin White. It's gonna be Amari Gainer. It's gonna be Cody Lindenberg. Yes, I said Cody Lindenberg. That's my five. And if they decide to keep one more, that's Jalen Smith. That's that's Matt Jones. That's Michael Barrett or Bennett. Barrett, Bennett, whatever the hell his name is. I think it's Barrett. That's three guys right there. And not to mention Tommy Eichenberg, who was a fifth round pick last year, right? Fourth or fifth round pick last year. Do they move on from him that quickly? I don't see him putting him on the practice squad. So I would say he would be my sixth. But I really like Jalen Smith. He's going in his sixth or seventh year in the NFL. He's a former Raider. They brought him back for a reason. Man, give the man a chance. Let's see what he's got. I'd be down with that. Raiders crushing the Chargers is a must. Man, crushing the whole AFC is a must. But the AFC West more than that. Um, one number on position for free agent or should be cornerback. For trade, Jalen Ramsey should be the number one target in free agent. Should be James Bradbury or Stephen Gilmore. I mean, I know we argue a lot. I like Bradbury. I like Stephen Gilmore. I like Jalen Ramsey. I'm just not trading for Jalen Ramsey. I wouldn't be mad at Bradbury. But I don't know. I don't know if these guys bring in a veteran corner. I said it last year when everybody said they got to bring in this guy, they got to bring in this guy. I think we're trying to build in house, and we have so many 1 year contracts that we're to the point that if you keep bringing in these 1 year contracts and all these guys hit, I mean, yeah, that's a good thing for this year, but not for the future. We don't have enough money to, have to sign these guys that used to make good money, like a Jalen Ramsey, 20 plus $1 million a year, right? If you get him for 5, 6, 7 mil, and then the following year, if he really helps this team and he's damn good, then you got to pay him. We're still got to pay Colton. We still got to pay Jacoby Myers with $36 million left on the cap. Man, there's still a lot of money floating around with guys that I feel need to be signed. To me, fuck bringing in anybody, bro. Pay the guys in the building that we need. We need Jacoby Myers. He's a must. That's the leader on our offense. That's the leader on our receiving room. You got to pay Jacoby Myers, man. He played for scraps. He's been that dude that does it all for this team, that hard hat guy. You got to get that deal done. Colton Miller, same thing. You can't let this man go out coming off an injury and play with no guaranteed money for the season. Now, if they trade him, that would be crazy if they can't get the deal done. But to me, that deal has to be done, bro. You have to bring in Colton Miller. And then, if you still feel you have needs, then you go out and get a guy like Jalen Ramsey. But Jalen Ramsey, mark my words. And I know y'all don't believe me much, but damn, if I came out and said I told you so of everything I told y'all that really happened, like a lot of people do, we'd be here all day long. Fuck, like, I don't know why, but I swear every time I say some shit, like 2-3 weeks later, I feel like I'm just manifesting the shit out there because it seems to come through tuition. Like, so Jalen Ramsey, if he is brought into the Raiders, it's going to be because he gets cut or released, which is going to be right before camp, right? Another couple weeks. They're not going to cut him, not let him get a camp somewhere. That would be dirty for the organization. That would be horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I don't see the Raiders doing some shit like that and trading for him. They're going to, wait till he's released. That's a lot of money. And there's still a lot of corners out there that I feel the Raiders would look at before they went and got a guy that they have to pay $20 million to, right? Negotiations are going to be rough. Yes, he wants to be a Raider. Yes, we have that going for us. But if you look at his numbers last year, man, I'm not paying him 20 mil. I don't even know if I'd pay him 10. I mean, I know he's worth it. But damn, on a 1 year contract, like there were so many guys that we skipped on already. When you could have got Jameer Alexander for $6 million and you didn't do it. And I know the injury and all that shit, but there's been who else did just got signed recently? I said we should have went and got. I'll tell you tomorrow. Can't figure it out. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Jack. Shit, I've been doing that my whole life, even when I was making good money. Just spend that shit. Give it to the wife. We get Cap next year back, and I like Jacoby been on one of his big advocates, but Thornton, Beck, Malott, Tucker work out. I don't see him paying Jacoby. We can't sign Jalen this year and move off. I said the same thing, man. I said the same thing. I really see him. Every time it's brought up, like I said, I really see him going into the season. And if these guys don't, make that jump right away and come out the first couple games and just impress the shit out of all the coaches, the fans, the rest of the players on the team, then they might think about, okay, we need Jacoby. And I think they're trying to evaluate how much they need Jacoby Myers. But if Dante Thornton comes out and has a hell of a rookie year, right off the rip, the chances of bringing Jacoby back might be less. If Thornton and Beck come out and have hell of a years, right off the rip, and that seems to be, a target that Geno Smith likes a lot, that could hurt Jacoby Myers' chances. I just don't see that being the issue, right? If you're Geno Smith and you're trying to get back, to being that top 10 quarterback in the NFL, if you're trying to get back to where the guy that everybody says you are right now, top 10, top 6 is the craziest shit I ever heard. But I hope he is. I hope he is. But if you're trying to get back to being that guy, if you're Geno Smith, what are you going to do? Who are you going to throw the ball to? Are you going to throw the ball to a Dante Thornton because he's 6'5" and runs a 4.3 when he hasn't proven himself in the NFL? Are you going to throw the ball to a Jack Beck or to a Trey Tucker first? Or is your number one guy in your first read, even if it's your second or third read, but is your number one target going to be a guy like Jacoby Myers or Brock Bowers, who have shown they catch everything thrown their way? They can make plays after the catch, right? To me, if I'm a quarterback, I'm going with the sure thing. And I'm not going to take a bunch of chances right off the rip, in the beginning of the year in the first couple games with some kids that I don't know if they can step up and be that guy, in the big games. Yes, they're going to get their chances. But if they don't take advantage of those chances and capitalize on those chances right off the rip, those chances and opportunities are going to diminish, and they're going to go to where they should go. Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. When a guy doesn't drop any passes all year long, that's your security blanket. That's the guy you look to when all else fails, when shit gets sped up, when shit breaks down, right? When guys are covered and you go to your first read and you go to your second and third read and there's nothing there and no check down, you're not trying to force it. You're going back to Jacoby. You're going to go back to and force it that way if you're going to force anything. So I think that's going to help Geno Smith a lot. You have a guy that you can really trust and is going to give you everything on every single play, no matter what. And it means a lot, right? It means a lot for this franchise. And I know this organization wants him, right? Spytech, everybody already in the building, the players, everybody wants Jacoby to be here. I don't see him being one of those greedy guys like, okay, I need this, or I'm going to go somewhere else. So I hope Jacoby stays around. I could see him, signing another 2, maybe, 3-year deal, because that's what everybody seems to be getting right now, right? 3-4-year deal. That's Pete Carroll's window. That's our, big playoff window or whatever they want to call it. So I could see it going that way. But I could also see him, not signing him all year and just moving on if these guys show out. But they're gonna have to show out, man. You're gonna have to impress a lot of people to take the place of what Jacoby Myers can do. He's just the dude is irreplaceable, in my opinion. Jacoby won't get signed until next offseason if they do sign him. Yeah, he's not a priority, definitely, but I feel like I said, if these dudes don't show out right away in the middle of the year, they might start working on contracts. Chino isn't top 10. Wait, he's top 15, 20-ish. According to Chris Sims, he ain't even in the top 20. He's top 24. That is the list Yahoo Sports put out there. They had Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, ranked below him, who are way better, right? And they also didn't have Mayfield, Goff, Darnold. Where'd that go? Fuck my life. Mayfield, Goff, Darnold, Daniels, Knicks, Hurts on the list. I know, who all had way better, way less turnovers. We counted 3 times on this show how many quarterbacks were better than Geno Smith last year, touchdown to interception wise. And it was like 26, 24, 24 out of 32, I do believe. It was a lot, bro. It's a lot. So, I mean, we know what it is. We know what it is. Geno had 21 touchdowns, 24 turnovers. Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it. But this is the thing with Pete Carroll's offense and Chip Kelly. Both of them are key on minimizing turnovers, right? That is their number one goal. Compete, compete, compete. Number two, hold on to the ball. Don't make bad decisions. And I feel like we have enough weapons where if you just take your time and go through your progressions like a quarterback, poised quarterback, right? And don't force shit. I think Geno's gonna be fine, man. I think Geno can have one of the best years he had, like his first year with Pete Carroll. The weapons around him, the run game around him will take the pressure off him. I think the offensive line is gonna be better than what he had last year. And the coaching is better than what he had last year. There's no doubt about it, in my opinion, or anybody's opinion, right? I think the offensive coordinating is better. The plays are going to be better. The coaching is better. He's back with Pete Carroll. Like the sky's the limit for Geno. Only Geno can fuck it up. That's facts, bro. Only Geno. Only Geno. No pressure, my guy. No pressure. But yeah, man, hour and a half. I just had to get on here, talk my shit about Christian Wilkins. It's gonna be rough, man. It's gonna be a long road. But right after the interview with our guy Pete Carroll, I said it when, and I said it way before that. Don't look for this guy to be playing until after the bye week, which is week 8, and maybe way later than the bye week. But there's a very good possibility that he's got that dog in him and might say, I'm playing, bro. I'm playing. If I could walk, I'm playing. We know Maxx Crosby has that mentality. We know there's a lot of players in the NFL on this team that have that mentality, right? We've seen it from Ja'Cory and Bennett last year. Like he said, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured, right? An injury is something, if it's serious, you got to take it serious. But just being hurt, man, you can play through pain. We know it's an injury, it has to have surgery. But is it an injury he can play with? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. So shout out to y'all. Much love. Make sure you tune in Monday, Saturday. I don't know what I'm doing on Saturdays or Sundays. So it'll be a late pop up if I do pop up tomorrow. So see y'all tomorrow. Stay blessed. Much love. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Peace.